Welcome back to CEO.CA. Today we're talking to someone that I personally met years ago at another company, Guy Bourassa, now leading Scandium Canada. So we're going to learn a ton of new stuff, at least for me anyway. I don't know anything about Scandium, so we'll get started. I heard that it strengthens aluminum.
Yes.
Can you explain further for us?
Well, it's one of the properties of Scandium is when you mix it in very, very small quantities with aluminum, you completely change the properties, mainly its strength. A pure aluminum bar, you put 0.4% content of scandium oxide and you multiply its strength by 8 times, 800% stronger, but with the same weight. It also brings anti-corrosion resistance property. It strengthens elasticity of it, the capacity to diffuse the heat. It's also a very good conductor of electricity. So you can even replace, with aluminum scandium wires, you could replace all of the wiring in electric motors that is currently in copper.
Well, it's definitely niche compared to better known critical metals like lithium. But I guess the question is, are there other peers in Canada here that are looking for the same metal?
Well, currently in Quebec, in Canada, but in Quebec, you have Rio Tinto that is currently recovering scandium units from their titanium pigment operation in Sorel-Tracy. That brings the reality of the supply of scandium around the world. It's always as a byproduct of something else. Like Rio Tinto, it's titanium. In China and in Russia, it's mainly from nickel laterite mines or titanium operations. So it's always a byproduct, and because it's always a byproduct, you've got a restriction on the supply and the capacity to emerging markets that would benefit from the added properties of aluminum scandium alloys.
Well, moving on from learning about the peers, let's talk about the project.
Yes.
We mentioned it's in Quebec. It's called Crater Lake. You had a game-changing piece of news, an updated MRE. So let's start with project basics and then talk to us about the resource estimate.
Absolutely. So the project is the only primary source of scandium currently being developed in the world. I was mentioning that currently it's always as a byproduct that you obtain the scandium units. So a new market would be reluctant to develop because they would say, well, if I need more than your capacity, you will not be increasing your nickel production for say, or titanium production to give me more of these units. So reluctant on the new applications. When you develop a primary source of scandium, that's a scandium mine. So if you need, as a client, to obtain more output, you easily can increase the capacity of your mine to meet that additional demand. So it is remote. It's in northern Quebec. It's about 200 kilometers northeast of Schefferville for the people know it. It's in Nunavik. There's no road access, there's no power grid, so it's costly to explore. That being said, we have been able to demonstrate and confirm a very, very large resource that we just confirmed in 2025 in April, increasing the indicated and inferred categories by 38 and 31%. So we can easily talk about a 40, 50 years mine life only using the indicated resources. We have also completed the metallurgical piloting of 500 kilos. So the full flow sheet is known. It's economic. It works nicely, good recovery. So now we're looking to be able to complete a pre-feasibility study. This project has delivered a preliminary economic assessment in 2022. Well, things have changed. We changed the logistic. We tried to reduce the transport, the distance. We changed the seasonal operation to a full around year operation. So that will be reflected, and obviously the results of the metallurgy, the updated resource estimate. So we're currently working on a pre-feasibility study. One of the big things, though, that we did, because it's a very niche market, for the past 3 years, in parallel to advancing technically the project, we developed new alloys, aluminum scandium alloys, modified to be amenable to 3D printing. So that's a game changer.
Why so?
It's so good. It's so good that we even filed a patent application to protect the recipes and the process of producing these aluminum scandium powders for 3D printing. It's the 535 and the 7075 series in aluminum alloys. So it is good. Why? Because it allows the properties that you get from aluminum scandium alloys to be used in parts that you cannot otherwise either machine or cast or whatever because of the complexity of the parts. So it has a lot of potential applications. We're currently working on a pre-commercialization effort. We demonstrated the mechanical properties. We are now putting together a specific subsidiary of Scandium Canada to be able to, on the side, develop this thing outside of the mining project.
Right.
It's not the same type of investors. So that's why we do these two things in parallel. Reason initially was when you come with a specific new mineral, in the feasibility stage, you need to be able to demonstrate a pricing and volume and market. So we wanted 3 years ago to be able to demonstrate a market for specific applications, get a pricing, etc. So we're successful, and we're even going with IP development on this. So we're very, very glad.
Well, you were saying earlier that it is expensive to explore.
Yes.
How do you make sure that it's economically viable? How do you make sure that, I mean, at the end of the day, when we're talking to people here in junior mining, access, infrastructure is so key to the selling point.
Yeah.
Now, if in your case, that's not quite there because it's a difficult place to get to, there's no roads, how is it still like a viable opportunity?
Well, because of the size of that resource, we're talking a project of over 50 years, and it's only one of 5 zones that we've identified that is talking for 50 years.
How large is the package?
Well, 47 square kilometer, but the 5 zones, they go across about 14 kilometers along strike. So they've been either drilled or channel sampled or grab samples. Only one has been drilled to make a resource. That's the TG zone. We concentrated on this one. But all of the indications and the samples that we have from the 4 other zones are there. But hey, let's start. We have 50 years. Let's put this. Reality is critical minerals in Canada. We benefit now from the Critical Mineral Infrastructure Fund money available to accelerate the aim of that fund, federal fund, $1.5 billion over 7 years.
$1.5 billion?
$1 billion over 7 years. We're in the second year now. It's about $300 million envelope to subsidize to the level of about 50% projects that are aiming at accelerating the development and production of critical minerals. So our project fits exactly in that. So part of the engineering cost to design the road, access road, 162 kilometers of access road, is going to be partly subsidized by this fund, hopefully. But
you have to apply? And
well, we did file, according to their site, a demonstration of interest. They replied saying, yeah, what you presented does qualify. So now the program ends at the end of June. We have to file the complete definitive file, but at least they indicated that it does meet the criteria of the fund. So that's why I say hopefully, but we're quite hopeful. That is a clear indication of the Canadian government that they are pushing forward development of infrastructures. So we're talking about power lines, we're talking about access road. That's exactly what is missing in our case. If that deposit had been sitting aside an existing road and a power grid, it would already be in production.
Well, I have one more question for you before we go. It's June 2025, and your stock is at 2 cents. I think in terms of market cap, am I wrong? It's 8 million?
About.
Roughly. How do you increase, liquidity, attention, other than obviously doing, market awareness and opening corporate doors as CEO?
Yes, absolutely. The way for a company like us in a specific, very niche market that people still need to be educated is delivering a pre-feasibility study and attracting at least one large end user that will show its support either by investing in the company or by signing a letter of intent or a offtake agreement to support the financing of the project when to be built. We lived through that in the 2010, 2011 when I was involved in the lithium space in Quebec at that time. Nobody knew about lithium. Everybody was talking lithium for pills. Is it the same lithium? Nobody really saw that coming electrification of transport. So we had a lot of education to do. It's exactly the same thing with Scandium. But we don't have the same spark of electrification that people can rely and say, yeah, the market is going to be huge and it's interesting. I must be in the lithium play. So that's why I say you deliver a pre-feasibility, you've got a good cost estimate of production, and then you will be able to sign a off-taker or a large potential end user. That's going to be your spark for the market.
What's the timeline for the pre-feasibility?
Pre-fee is about 9 months.
9 months from today?
Yeah.
Well, Guy, I really enjoyed the conversation. Thank you.
It's always a pleasure.
You can check out Scandium Canada on the CEO.CA website. And of course, understand the company a little deeper for yourself by looking up their stock symbol. Thanks for watching.